In this video I'm going to show you how to set up an auto-tweeting plugin on your WordPress website. What this plugin allows you to do is basically set up a few settings, connect it with a Twitter profile, and it will then automatically tweet your posts based on the settings that you provide. The example that I'm showing you here is my Twitter feed. I use this auto-tweeting plugin to regularly post tweets about projects that I've recently completed. So it means that I can also always make sure that my Twitter followers are always seeing that I'm kind of completing projects or easily see the projects that I've recently done. So the way that you can see the tweets that are automatically tweeted, this one here is about Rob Redsuller website I made, and then the next one is this one for Coleman Bradshaw, and this one for SmartCheck. The way that you can start to see that they're auto-tweeted is because they actually use the same message: find out more about the WordPress website I built for, and then find out more about the WordPress website I built for, and then it's only just the actual website name that is different. Now I've set this up so that the actual website name is the actual blog post, the title of the blog post, so that it's always, instead of tweeting a name, it always tweets the actual website address. So if I just click on this, it's the link that will take us to, obviously, the client's website. So I find it really useful because I'm obviously sharing the client's website, but the next link is actually the link to the post that I've actually posted. So you can see here the title is actually the web address of the client. So that's why it shows up on my Twitter feed as the client web address. But what that actually essentially is just the blog post title. So your tweet might be a bit shorter. It could be, I check out the latest blog post I've done, it's called XYZ, and then the title would be finding out about how to do this or how to do that. Whatever it is, you can basically set up the text that is before the actual post title and after it. So it's a really good way to be able to start auto-tweeting. You can see here 20 hours ago, on the 7th of December, on the 6th of December, scroll down a bit, 4th of December. I've got this auto-tweeting set for about every 72 hours. It varies between 48 and 72 hours. Just because I obviously want people to be seeing what I'm doing, but also I don't want to annoy them by doing it every hour or something like that. And all these settings can be played around with and tuned to exactly how you want them. So what you can see is that I go to my website where I'm auto-tweeting from, and it's basically just the blog posts, and all of these here are websites I've built, but I've written a blog post about each of them. So instead of having to schedule tweets, which again wouldn't be a problem, but I know that this is another way that I can get around it. The site, because I've got the plugin installed, it will auto-tweet each one of these on a random basis, so I know all the time that my Twitter followers are going to be seeing what I'm doing and what I've done. And all I actually need to do is just post blog posts. So I don't actually need to tweet about them. I can do if I want to, but I know that this system is in place if I don't have the time to or I just forget to. So what I'm going to quickly do now is we'll close a few of these and we'll log into a WordPress website where I'll show you how to go about setting up this plugin. So first thing you're going to want to do, feel free to go along at the same time or watch the video, see how it's done, and then go and give it a try for yourself. If you go to plugins and want to add a new plugin, and if you search for, it's called Tweetly, always finds it, and it's Tweetly, tweet your post automatically. And you can find a bit more about it. There's a good rating, kind of about 29 I think reviews, so you know that it works. So you can go ahead, click install, okay, just wait for a few seconds to install on the WordPress website. So it's installed, we'll activate the plugin, and so now we know it's installed, and you'll see that a new option comes on the left hand menu bar. So this is where you access all of your Tweetly options. The first thing you're going to want to do is to sign in with Twitter, because you basically need to verify that you do want this plugin to send out tweets on your behalf. So I'm just going to go ahead and log in. I'll pause the video for a second and then I'll come back to it. So I've just got to the authorization screen, entered my Twitter username and password, I'll authorize the app, and it will send us back to the page where we've actually go to the settings for Tweetly. So now you should see you're connected, and now you can actually start setting the settings that you want for your Tweetly to work out. So what I'll do, I'll quickly run through what's going on for each of the options and some of the things that you might want to do, and some ideas to kind of be able to use it more effectively. The main thing I'd say is watch the video, see what I'm doing, and consider how you want to use it, because it will be slightly different for each person. But I'll just try and give a few examples, and then if there's any questions or you might want to know how you might use it, feel free to post a comment in the box below. But I'll jump in now. So Tweetly allows you to share different types of content. So what you could do is share the post title only, post only from the body of the actual post. So it might tweet the first line or so, or you could do the title and the body. Personally, I always recommend just the title because that's probably what is most catchy, will get people's eye. It also gives you some option to give a bit of extra text before or after the title, depending on how you want to work it. So let's say I was doing a post about how to use WordPress, and all my blog posts were about that, and I wanted to share those with my Twitter followers. I might kind of, my additional text might be, take a look at the latest WP Help article I just created. And I'll put a colon just so that it ends nicely rather than put a full stop, because the next thing we want to add is the link. And so once you've got the text that you want, you can decide where it actually goes. You can have it at the beginning of the tweet, at the end of the tweet. I always go for generally at the beginning of the tweet and then have a link at the end. The next option, do we want to include a link? Yes, I do. Generally, that's what you're probably going to want to do because you want to build traffic towards your website. Use a URL shortener. Generally a good thing to do. It makes the links shorter, allows you to get more text and title into your actual tweets. Hashtags, you can actually add standard hashtags. I don't often use this because sometimes they're quite different, but for this one we might say yes, use common hashtags for all tweets, and the hashtag might be let's say, sorry, the first one is for how long you want the hashtags to be, because obviously there's a limit on how long your tweet can be. The second one is actually where you enter your hashtag, so it might be hashtag WP training, because that's what my tweets are about. Probably don't want to include too many here because you want your title and your link to be the main focus. But again, these are all settings that you can play around with, and they're things that after a while you'll start to see what's going out and you'll probably change them over time. The next set are all about how often and kind of the timings of your tweets. You don't want to annoy people by sending them out all the time, because they are the same ones. So you want to kind of get to a schedule that you know is suitable for your Twitter followers, and it will be different, and it might change during the year. So there might be times when you want it to be more frequent and less frequent. So let's say we want maybe once a day. So we'll put time between tweets 24 hours. Then you add a random time. This could be say 3, just to try and make it look a bit more normal, and rather than being at the same time every day. If it happens that you set it at 11 o'clock every night, it will tweet at 11 o'clock every night. Your visitors might not see it, whereas if you have a 3-hour random time added to it, it will then start to be at different times throughout the day. The next couple of options determine how old and how new posts can be to be included. So what you can do is have a minimum age of a post. So if you don't actually want to be tweeting posts that you've just put out, because maybe you do share them on social media well, and it's only your older posts that you want to be shared, you can set this to anything that you want. So let's say you only want older posts than 30 days, you just enter 30 into there. Generally, because of the way I set it up, I always leave it at 0, because there are so many posts that I often have that can be included. It's not often that a recent one gets tweeted too often. Maximum age of a post, this would depend on what your site and what you're trying to do. In this case, if we're doing a training site, it might be 120 days. We don't want it to be more than 4 months old because posts might not be as relevant. But also what you've got to consider is that if the maximum age is 360, let's say, that's going to include 12 months post, so the chances of more recent articles or posts being included is much less. So often I kind of 60 days or 30 days, again depending how much you actually post and how often you want frequent your actual tweets go out. It's all a bit of tweaking and seeing how it goes and trying to work out what's best for you, but it just gives you an idea of how it's all working. Now the next one is in number of tweets. I always leave this at 1. I don't want multiple tweets going out at the same time. You probably could get away with 2, but just having 1 I think looks good. If you wanted to have lots of tweets going out, just make them a bit more frequent, but 1 at a time. If you change this to say 12, your Twitter profile, so this would come up with 12 tweets at the same time, very frequently, and it just probably wouldn't be very good for your users, for your Twitter followers, sorry. They'd see lots of tweets from you over and over again at the same times, and they'd probably unfollow you. And that's not what you want from this. What you're wanting from this is to share your content in an automatic way, but that actually gets traffic to your site and doesn't annoy people. The next option is that you can actually share posts and pages. So this is a bit more of a newer option, but generally it's going to be posts that you're going to be sharing. But again, if you don't actually have a blog section on your site where you have posts, it could be just pages you choose. It really is, again, depending on what you want to do. It might be that you have a list of services that you want to be sharing, so you could only choose pages. And again, it's very much depending on what you're trying to do at that particular time. With my WordPress site, I haven't really changed it since I had this setup where, because all I really want to do is tell my Twitter followers about the work that I've been doing. Going out and promoting that I can have web design support and training services all the time isn't going to be, I think, as proactive as just telling them about the work I'm doing. If they regularly see that I'm building websites and then at some point they do need a website, hopefully they're going to remember me. Rather than being the person who's screaming, shouting about all the things I can do, they'll just remember seeing every now and again tweets about the work that I've been doing. And I found that's a much better way of actually selling to people on Twitter. The final section is the categories so you can actually exclude categories. So if there's particular categories that maybe you don't want to share on Twitter or you just don't think they'll work as well, you can just tick them here and select them. Again, so it's kind of a nice way to, if you want to focus on a particular area, maybe there's a Christmas related at this particular time of the year that you actually want to focus on just your Christmas post, so you kind of exclude all the other ones that may be summer or kind of spring related, or just particular times when you've got an offer on, you kind of want to focus on a particular part of your business. It's really good for actually kind of optimizing and kind of making your tweets actually much more relevant to people on Twitter. And so they are the main settings. There's a few that I missed out, but they are the main ones that will get you started. And as I said earlier, if you have any other further questions, feel free to kind of put them in the comments box below and I'll answer them. But once you've got to this point, we're pretty much ready to update our Tweetly options. So what you can do is then just click the Update Tweetly options, and Tweetly options updated. And you can then actually see here that next tweet is now coming in 24 hours and 7 seconds. So we then know that it's actually working. What you can do is you can actually tweet now as well. I'm not going to do this because obviously I've got it on a live profile. But when you do, if you just click tweet now, if you're watching the video whilst you're doing it, you should then see success come up, and you would then see the actual tweet come up in your Twitter feed straight away. And what you'll probably find is that you kind of think, oh, that's not quite right, or that's not quite suitable, so you slightly change it. But as I say, there's lots of settings here, and there's a variety of ways that you can use it. But it's a very good way of auto-tweeting and getting your content out there. So I hope you found it useful. Feel free to go through and add the plugin and test it. And as I say, if you've got any questions, place them in the comments below and I'll get back to you.